Work smarter, not harder. We've heard that advice a million times. But if you're like me before, you have no idea what it actually means. And it creates more confusion than clarity. And so in this video, I'm gonna break down what working smart actually means and teach you a framework that we've used in our business to help us 10x our results while cutting our work hours in half. So a little backstory. I'm an entrepreneur and it's great because it allows me to build the kind of career that I want and to earn the income that I want to earn. But one challenge that entrepreneurs have many times is their busyness. They get really busy, they work long hours, and there's this going joke that people make that you give up a 9 to 5 only to work 24/7. And for many entrepreneurs, that's the reality. You just work nonstop and you forget to pay more attention to more important matters in your life, like your relationships, your health, your spirituality. And so that's why we get advice like work smart, don't work hard. Because we want two things. Number one is we still want to be productive, but secondly, we also want to avoid burnout. Nowadays, people are realizing that hustle culture isn't the only way for you to actually succeed in your business, in your career, in your life. And so we listen to this advice like work hard, work smart. And it makes sense because it is good advice and it should be advice that we should follow. But the issue is that we don't really know how to execute on that advice. So it sounds like good advice, but it's really vague. And vagueness is where we feel stuck. For the longest time, I was stuck in that vagueness as well. Until I started to talk to people who were actually working smart. I started to listen to them and ask them and understand what are the things that you're focusing on? What are the practices that you have in your business, in your career, that have allowed you to achieve more without having to lose sleep, to give up on your marriage, and to ignore your children to the point that they barely even know you.
Who are you?
And I started to realize patterns and principles that these people have applied in their lives, and I started to apply it in my life as well, until working smart actually started to make more sense to me. I actually turned it into a framework that helped me to filter out all of the tasks that were just keeping me busy, but were not really moving the needle. So I want to share that with you today. Before we go into the actual framework, I want to share with you some important principles once we start to move into the framework so that we can implement this the right way. So the first thing that we need to understand is what working smart actually means. So there are two goals. First goal is to do things right, being an expert in your field. You really want to get as good as you possibly can get at what you're doing so that it will take lesser time for you to actually achieve what you want to achieve. Second part is doing the right things, which a lot of people struggle with the most. So doing the right things essentially is prioritization. So the first one is expertise. The second one is learning your priorities and looking at your to-do list and focusing on the right things. I came across the Pareto principle, which teaches that 20% of your effort will produce 80% of your results. And the other way around, 80% of your effort will produce 20% of your results. Which made me realize that if you had 10 tasks in your day, that only 2 of those actually move the needle for your career, your business. And so the question there is, how do you determine which of those 10 tasks are the 20% that actually drive the most results? It's definitely not through eeny, miny, mo.
I also like to live dangerously.
Because if you do that and you just randomly pick whatever you want to focus on, you might end up focusing on the wrong things. It's just going to cost you productivity. You're not going to get the results that you want. And so you need a better way to prioritize, to pick which tasks to focus on. And that's where you need a filter, which is the framework that I want to teach you. So the framework that I want to teach you to help you to prioritize is pretty simple because it follows the acronym SMART. S-M-A-R-T. It stands for skills, motive, attitude, results, and time. What do these words stand for? And how do you turn this into a filter so that you can prioritize your task? The first one, let's go through them one by one, is skill. And the question you want to answer there is, do I have the skills necessary to do this task well? To get this task done or to get this project done. You want to take a look at your current skill set and see if you are qualified to work on this task or to work on this skill. And if you're not qualified, the next question you need to ask is, can I get the help of someone who is an expert in this skill? You might think that this is your job when it's actually not. and someone else can do it better than you. And if you have that person do it, then you're actually gonna have a better result. The next one is motive. Why do you want to do this in the first place? So the question you wanna ask is my motivation clear and honest? So it has to be clear and it has to be honest. Because many times we do something thinking that we're doing it for noble reason, but maybe we're just misguided by a different motivation. And so I find that many people, me included many times, because I think that my motives are clear and my intention is clear. But when I ask myself the question completely honestly and ask myself why I want to do this, I realize that I really don't know the reason why I'm doing this. I find that the times that my motivation isn't as clear, I feel unmotivated to get something done. And so I want to make sure first that my motive is clear, because if it's not, then maybe it's better for me to set this task aside so that I can focus on other tasks where the motive is clear and I can prioritize that a bit more. The next part of the filter is attitude. Productivity, it's not just spreadsheets and tools and to-do lists and ticking here and having the right project management system to use Scrum, Waterfall, and all of these things, which are all important, by the way. But many times, productivity also has to do with human psychology that can hold us back from actually getting things done. So I'll give you one example. For the longest time, I struggled with imposter syndrome. And that imposter syndrome held me back from actually getting more things done. Because every time I would have an output, I would just second guess myself. And I would take a draft essentially, and I would just, because I thought to myself, this is not good work. And then there was just one time when I was getting this article done, and I thought to myself, this article is just trash. It's not gonna get approved. And so I sent it to my client, and my client basically told me, this is the best article that I've seen from you. And I realized that what was holding me back from actually getting it done wasn't my expertise, it wasn't my technical skills, it was my mindset, because I was just second guessing my output. And I had wasted an entire evening just second guessing that article, only to realize that I could have finished it in an hour and the client would have been happy. The next filter is result. Being clear about what the desired result is. So we need to ask the question, will this help me reach a desired result? And I kind of reference to more big picture goal setting here. Every so often we set these long-term goals, whether it's to grow your profit or to finally start a side hustle or lose weight or whatever it might be. It actually helps us to be very clear about what result we want. The problem there is we're not very clear about the goals that we set, because we don't have a clear definition of what success actually looks like for us. So let's say, for example, you want to lose weight. How much weight do you want to lose? How do you know if you're going to achieve the body type that you want? If you have a business, for example, and you say you want to grow your profit, by how much? And we need to be clear about this by really defining what result we want, and if the tasks that we have really are helping us to achieve that result, or they might just be distracting us. The last one is time. Do I actually have the time for this? A great example of this would be meetings. We think that meetings don't really take a lot of our time. But if we took an audit and wrote down the number of meetings that we had in a week and how much time we actually spent there, we can realize how much time we're actually losing to these meetings. Many of the meetings that I had could have been shorter than they actually were. I was spending 2 hours in a meeting that could have lasted 30 minutes, and I could have gotten more work done. And so our sense of time has been distorted just because we don't have temporal awareness. And so if we have better temporal awareness, a better understanding of how much time a task, a meeting, a project will actually take, then we'll actually have a better sense of our priorities. Working smart has less to do about your intelligence and has more to do with your courage. Courage to do what? Courage to pick your priorities and to say no to everything else that is not contributing to your success. It's the courage to work with a compass, not just a to-do list, because many times we will veer away from the more important things like the principles, the frameworks that we have, just to look like we've got our act together. And so we take things like planners and notebooks and fancy apps and say to ourselves, this is what makes me productive. And in some essence, again, those are important things, but not as important as frameworks, mindsets that will help you to achieve more. Because if you want to work smart, not hard, what you actually need 2026 and onwards is not more things. It's not another tool, it's not another planner, it's less. It's to subtract, not add. And so hopefully these frameworks are there not to just add another piece of information in your head, but to actually help you subtract the things that are not helping you move forward. So if you found this helpful, then you know where the subscribe button is. Share this with a friend. That would really mean a lot to me. And as always, thank you for watching this video and getting to the very end if you reached the end. And I'll see you in the next video.